Whoa, she's not in her room? Crazy. Oh, also, I have to do this before I even start my video. Taylor, subscribe, okay? You said if I shouted you out, my coworker, he would subscribe to my channel. So I'm shouting you out, so you better hecking subscribe to my super interesting YouTube channel. Anyways, so I'm in a different location. I'm not in my room. Whoa. She leaves her room. Also, I'm obviously in my car. I just wanted to rant for a second. I'm going to try not to make this video long. Also, I don't even know if the format of this is going to work. So we'll see if I even end up posting this. Cause anyways, we'll see. So I wanted to talk about, the show that I was talking about. Okay. Sorry. I'm trying to find my train of thought. The show that I was talking about, I think my last video was the Welcome to Samdalri. Now, I probably already complained about this, so bear with me if I've already said this, because I probably have. I haven't watched a show where the father or the parent was the biggest antagonist in a second, because I have watched many K-dramas where the parent was a major antagonist, and usually it's there's also a lady that's right over there, so we're just hoping that she's not seeing me talking to my phone. And you know what, if she is, it's okay. Not a big deal. Anyways, I've watched a lot of shows where the parent was the antagonist, and a lot of times the parent is supposed to be the antagonist. They're supposed to be kind of bad. You're not supposed to like them, right? I didn't think when I got into this show that the dad of the show was going to be a bigger villain in my mind than their actual villain, who's also a terrible person, who's the one that tries to ruin our main character's career and starts off the whole scandal, fake one, that makes her go back to her hometown and thus starts the plot. So the dad, I think, of her boyfriend is worse. He's worse because this man held a 20-year grudge against their family because he blamed their family and specifically the mom for his wife's death. And I know I talked about that. I know I went into detail, but so again, like I said, if I'm repeating myself, sorry. It's just, I just have to explain a little context. But basically, he's awful because, and also the way they wrote him was not good, because for most of the show he doesn't play a huge part. There seems to be some kind of tension or some weirdness between the parents, between him and the wife of the main female lead. It's weird. There's definitely you can tell that they've had beef, but no one's talking about what it is. No one knows, right? And it kind of just goes like that for a while. There's a little tension, but for the most part, he seems like a pretty decent dude. He just seems kind of weird. And then, out of literally nowhere, they're no, now we're going to throw in a crazy plot where the dad is the ultimate victim. He's the ultimate villain. He thinks he's the ultimate victim. And he's going to just become the worst villain of the whole show. And he's just going to, and it just comes out of nowhere. There's no development to why he's suddenly so angry and has so much how do you say it? Animosity? Is that how you say it? Anyways, so much rage basically towards their family. It kind of just comes out of nowhere. And then for the next, I don't even know how many episodes, it's just he's the constant plot point. Even when, this is what got me, even when our characters finally decide to start dating again in episode, I think 14 of a 16 episode show, they finally decide to start dating again. Most of the episode was the dad. And you'd be like, Caitlin, how is that possible? And I'd be like, I don't know. You tell me. How is it? How are you going to make a whole episode for an hour plus and basically only have the main couple who just got back together be together for 5 minutes of the whole episode? It centered so much more around the dad and the relationship between the son, his girlfriend, and the dad and the mom of the girlfriend. There was it's why are we focusing so heavily on that? Also, I saw a comment that really summed it up right. They were if the show had shown the dad getting through his grief and his anger and his rage and resentment and all this stuff throughout the show, and it had gone on a steady climb, and then at episode 14 he had this moment of clarity and he stopped being so mad, and then he had this character development, that would have been so much better. But instead, he wasn't really mentioned, and then suddenly he hated them so much with everything in his being, and then suddenly in one episode, I'm not kidding, in episode 14, she has a conversation with him. And I guess you could say throughout the last like 2 episodes, maybe he started being not so mad, and maybe he was gonna move on, and maybe he was gonna start to stop being so irrationally angry. Like, when I tell you, this man was like dumping things in their yard. The wife would bring food over for him because her best friend was his wife. Like, and he would dump the food. He was a horrible person, okay? He was violent. He was annoying. He was so mean. He just not a good guy, right? And in the course of 1 episode, he basically, like, had kind of been, like, softening potentially, like, maybe becoming a little bit less horrible. And then the girlfriend, the main character, talks to him and says something that he told his wife back years before they got married. And then that's the thing that, like, changes his mind. And I was like, I'm sorry. You're telling me your son, like, crying to you and going on and on about how the way that he's like, the way that my mom meant to you, like, the way, how much you loved her is how much I love my girlfriend. It's how much I love her. Like, I'll never love anyone else. Like, that didn't get you, but hearing her utter some, not generic line necessarily, but not a really super original line was the thing that made you go, oh my gosh, I give you my blessing. And that's the thing, because they both wanted his blessing to date, even though they were already dating and had already decided to be together. But they were both like, oh, we need his blessing. And then you're like, you can have it. And I was like, why do we need your blessing when you literally have been sabotaging and making every single person's life miserable in both families? One person was like the reason that everyone was miserable, and I'm just supposed to forgive him and not care that he, like, didn't do anything to, like, actually gain anyone else's forgiveness for being so horrible. And the thing is, okay, here's what I'm saying, and this sounds weird, but, like, if his wife had died like 2 years ago, I would understand everything he did. His wife died 21 years ago in the show. Like, it had been 20 plus years since she had passed away. Yes, obviously it makes sense that he was still sad. It makes sense that he was still grieving. But he blamed the other woman who was her best friend and her whole family for so long. And he was also the cause of why they broke up in the first place. How am I supposed to? Okay, there's a guy passing, so I'm just gonna, like, pretend that I'm drinking something as I actually drink something. Oh, he's turning back around. No, don't go back to your car. Anyways. Also, there's a lady to, like, the right of me that's, like, a car or so away, and I'm wondering if she's seen me talking to myself, because I definitely look probably a little sane, especially because I'm getting very passionate. Oh, he forgot. Okay, now he's walking. Okay, now I'm gonna, wow, this drink is so interesting. Okay, he's passed. Why is that lady not leaving? What is she doing? Leave! I'm trying to talk about my shows. Anyways, I ranted about this heavily already on my Instagram story because I was so freaking ticked off, and I haven't hated a character that much in a while. I've had parent characters that I've really not liked, and there was one show, and I know I talked about this, there was one specific show where you weren't even supposed to hate the mom, but she was just the worst. Anyways, let's just say the antagonists are antagonizing. They are doing their job because they're super annoying. And the next episode, the preview for the next episode, I don't even think the dad's like a main point anymore. He's like, they're bringing back the original villain back into the last 2 episodes. So this is my other ranting point, and this will be the last thing I rant about. When you make a show where exes get back together, and for the majority of the show, they're not together. And the only time we really see them together, at least like romantically together, like they're physically like next to each other, but like romantically like dating again, is very short. And I get that. They have to develop the whole plot. They have to develop them working back together, especially because they broke up in some really dramatic, horrible way. They have to work back together. I understand the formula. What I don't understand is why you make a 16-episode show about characters that need to get back together. They finally get back together in almost the last episode, but then potentially the last 2 episodes aren't even really them together. And like, yes, they physically have been together. Oh, here goes this lady that was my bestie friend. Best friend. I'm gonna pretend I'm not looking at you. Looking down at my phone. Anyways, like, yeah, they were together, but they weren't like dating at that point. And also all the moments that they had before they decided to make it official were just like these weird, confusing moments where they were like, oh, we do still like each other, I think, but like, oh, we can't be together. And then they would have a cute moment. Those don't count because they weren't actually a couple. They weren't actually dating. So Okay, I kind of lost my train of thought, but basically my point in all of this is, why, if you're gonna make an exes get back together, why would you spend so much of the show on their backstory, their breakup, their family's disapproval, but almost no screen time goes to the actual couple being together when that's literally the plot of the show? And that's what made me so mad, is that they've dedicated so much of the show to flashbacks and the dad frowning in his room. This man frowns all the time. I don't think I've ever seen this character smile. And it's just wild to me that you've dedicated so much of your show to a couple getting back together, and yet the amount of time that the couple is getting back together and deciding to date again is like 10 minutes. And I'm so mad because this show, I was so excited. Wow, this person's backing up. I'm just gonna, wow, they're really close to me. I feel like your cars, I mean, I'd be doing that. I have a lot of room because my car's really tiny, but I usually like back up a lot. I'm like, I gotta make sure. Anyways, yeah, so I was looking forward to this show. I was so excited for it. It has been good. It has had good moments, but honestly, it's been a lot more negative than I was expecting, and it's been a lot more annoying than I was expecting. Because I really thought, I really kind of assumed, maybe I'm the crazy one, that when you make a show about two people getting back together, they're gonna be like, I don't know, getting back together and being in love and being happy and hugging and stuff. I didn't think I'd have to watch his stupid dad stare at a picture of his dead wife for 45 scenes. Like, and like, oh my gosh, it's just so annoying. Anyways, I think I've pretty much, oh, this lady's making direct eye contact with me. Okay, I'm gonna put my phone on. Okay, bye. It's a weird exit, but she's parking like right next to me. Okay, bye. Love you.